Okay, in all seriousness, I wanted to hate this movie more than I ended up hating it, but yeah, again, in all seriousness, I would give it a solid 5 out of 10, which is very low. Um, I I thought I was gonna hate it a lot more than I did, but I still didn't like it. Okay, I saw and read a lot of bad things about this movie, and I was like, that's cool, but I want to give it a shot for real. Okay, so I did, and let's just get into it. Okay, first of all, Jared Leto has in fact been accused of rape, assault, and or inappropriate sexual behavior, sometimes with minors. Okay, so and if you search Jared Leto rape, the first thing that comes up is 9 women accused him, blah blah blah. So personally, I don't really think 9 women happen to be lying about that. And even if he did not commit PIV rape, um, I don't know. I was trying to get with a teenager, a 16-year-old girl, which he did in 2008. Is very, very frightening to me. That's a really great way to start off this video. I honestly wasn't even planning that, but that's where we went, isn't it? Speaking of which, I would like to know what the fuck Disney thinks they're doing with him. Like, that happened in 2000, 2 separate women. Let me just clarify a little bit. 2 separate women, one who was 16 or 18 in 2006, and another one who was 16 in 2008. Both accused him of inappropriate sexual behavior. That was a while ago. Clearly, it's been a pattern for him. So, I wish that Disney still had the reputation that it used to. Now it no longer does. Now its reputation is, I would say, in the toilet. I guess maybe they don't care anymore and they're like, we give no fucks, let's watch this thing explode. That's certainly how they're behaving, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So that's the star of this movie. Not only is he the star of this movie, he was one of the main producers of this movie. I think that the better thing to have done here on Disney's part would have been for them to be like, wow, okay, look at all these rape allegations, Jared. I know we have you under contract and everything. We just started production, but, like, we'll pay you out, and you can't be in the movie, but we'll leave your name here on the producer credit in the credits. That would have been a better move, but evidently that's not what happened. Shocker. Okay, you guys, I don't even know what the fuck this movie was, honestly. It was let me just say this. I told you I wanted to hate it more than I actually did. Still didn't like it, but the beginning of the movie, the first act, reeled me in and had me going. I was like, oh wait, this is kind of interesting. This is way more interesting than I thought. So they did present a bunch of interesting concepts and ideas in the first act. However, let's say they presented 5 to 6 interesting concepts within the first act, okay? But by the end of the movie, I would say that only maybe like 1 to 2 of those were actually realized, and the rest of them were just like the other, 4 to 5 that were presented were just like, oh, forget about that, we moved on. So that's the thing, though, with films, is you're not really supposed to plant things that don't actually end up being significant throughout the movie. Okay? Where do I start with this movie? I guess I can start at the beginning. Not the actual beginning of the whole Tron franchise, but the beginning of the movie. You guys, I don't fucking know who watches the news other than boomers right now. Boomers and beyond, okay? I don't know anyone who watches the news seriously and really, like, believes everything they say because it's propaganda and we all know that. And they also report on the dumbest shit ever. I was telling my friend the other day, this was quite a while ago, this was more than 10 years ago, but I was telling my friend the other day that one time I was at this person's house. This happened like 10 years ago, but I told my friend this recently, where I was at this person's house, hanging out, and we had the television on. We weren't really watching it, but then we had it on a news channel, and then on the news channel, this thing came up, and then there was like breaking news, and then it came up and on like all 4 other adjacent news channels, and the breaking news was that 4 dolphins had accidentally entered into this man-made lagoon, and they could get in, but they couldn't get out. And they were like, oh no, look at these dolphins. I was like, that's breaking news? Like, there was no direct threat to the dolphins. They were probably just safely removed back to wherever they came from, and they made a better barrier so they couldn't get into this lagoon. But I was like, why the fuck is this breaking news? I don't even care if it was the middle of the day on a slow news day. Like, don't fucking report on that shit. Beside the point. So the beginning of the movie, there was like all this news stuff happening, like newscaster to newscaster to newscaster. I'm telling everybody listen to me right now. All you like Hollywood writers, all you like screenwriters, and I'm putting that in caps because you guys clearly suck at your jobs. Like, all of y'all need to find a different, more creative way to present exposition other than newscasts, other than newsreels, other than people saying the news and someone watching the news because no one fucking watches the news anymore. But if you want to do that, you can also do it in a more creative way. You can have a newscaster asking people on the street questions about the event or the pertaining information. You don't want to have these, like, newscaster. Maybe it was some kind of, like, harkening back to 1982 when, the first Tron movie came back, but I digress. So, I'm sorry I'm all over the place, but this is actually reflective of the actual movie. So, anyway, we had all these news things coming up, being like, Julian Dillinger, blah, 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 who was supposed to be, like, a Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg figure, played by Evan Peters, who I actually like a lot. And I think he's a really good actor, in all seriousness. And he was great in this movie. But, like, and then his mother was Gillian Anderson. He was supposed to be, like, this, like, old money guy who just happened to, like, revive the company. Okay, so the fucking plot of this movie, you guys, I am not kidding, is Julian Dillinger trying to come up with a way to make a digitally created soldier that you can just whip up, at a moment's notice. The problem is that he can only whip up Jared Leto's character for 29 minutes total. And then after 29 minutes, he disappears. Like, I think that's kind of incredibly, like, stupid that he can just, like, conjure this, like, living, breathing, solid human being that people can physically touch, and he can do actual physical things in this world, only to have him, like, disappear after 29 minutes. Like, that's kind of stupid. Anyway, so that's the problem, okay? And he's like, and then his mom is like, ooh, she was British for this movie. She was like, oh, Julian, this isn't working. Like, I'm going to end the program. And he's like, no, Mom, I can do it. What I do appreciate is I think they made Evan Peters look a little bit more rough than he actually is. So, like, great job on hair and makeup for once in your life. But, sorry, that's beside the point. That is beside the point. Anyway, so he's trying to figure out how he can make this being, the conjurable digital into real life soldier called Ares, played by Jared Leto, permanent or more long lasting. Okay? You guys, close your eyes for a moment. Close your eyes. use your imagination here. I want you to imagine the most stereotypical young pup guy. Let's even say age 18 to 30, who looks like he is either currently still in military boot camp or fresh out of graduated military boot camp. Does he look like Jared Leto? I thought not. I fucking thought not. If you're gonna make a conjurable soldier, you're not gonna fucking give him hair nearly as long as mine, and nor are you gonna give him a full beard. And he's also not gonna be 53 years old. But that's who we got with Jared Leto. Anyway, so that was the whole, like, problem. And Julian Dillinger also had another gal named Athena, who was, like, you know, part of the same program as Ares, okay? Anyway, completely different gal. What was her name in the movie? Fuck. I'm not gonna remember. Completely different gal. Oh, her name was Eve. Completely different gal in the movie named Eve is like, I'm gonna find the permanence code. The code to make an object that you can conjure digitally permanent in the world that we live in. This is like a little bit too steep of a demand for a Disney movie that's all about visually stunning chase scenes, but this is where it ended up going. This is what they ended up doing. So Eve works in this freaking off-grid Quonset hut in, like, the Arctic or some shit. And for some reason, when she got there, she was wearing, like, 6 metal rings. You guys, I'm bugging from Wisconsin, okay? And you don't wear metal rings in the winter. You also don't wear metal rings when you're hiking up a goddamn actual mountain in the snow. But I don't know whose fault that is. Maybe it's wardrobe's fault. Maybe it's the stylist's fault. Maybe it's Greta Lee's fault. Couldn't tell you, but minor detail. I don't like saying this, and it's also not entirely her fault, but wow, was not impressed with Greta Lee's performance. But for that matter, the script kind of sucked, and I said this for the Lilo and Stitch live action, and I'm going to say it again for this movie, which is, I was getting Audie's Disney Channel original movie vibes from the dialogue said in this movie. I love Disney Channel original movies. They hold a special place in my heart. All the ones that I watched as a child. There's a time and a place for that, and the time and place for that vibe is not the cinema. The time and place for a Disney Channel original movie vibe is not in the cinema. I don't know why I'm saying this. I don't know why a normal-ass civilian like me who has merely studied script structure has to tell you this to a freaking trillion-dollar company. But again, for like the third time in the last 2 or 3 months, here we are. Okay, so yeah, she's trying to get the permanence code, and Eve is all sad because her poor sister, who started the whole project, passed away from a brain tumor. That's really sad. That's really interesting. She's clearly still grieving. I was like, okay, where are we gonna go with this? But again, that was sort of barely followed through. That was kind of barely paid off by the end of the movie. So I was like, why the fuck was this even put in here if there was almost zero resolution to it? There was sort of some resolution to it, but I'll get back to that later. Okay. Anyway, so she actually finds the permanence code in her Quonset hut in off-grid. In the freaking wilderness. She finds it. Wow. Amazing. So awesome. Her reaction when finding it was trash. I forgot who directed this. I think I wrote it down. Um, but okay, if listen, you guys, listen. Here's let's use our imagination again. Okay, close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you're a world-renowned scientist doing some of the only work of your kind that is extremely important and extremely influential and will change the world when you have accomplished what you set out to accomplish. Okay? Imagine that. So you're trying to figure out, you're trying to have the eureka moment, right? When you have the eureka moment, when that occurs to you, when you finally accomplish the thing you've been trying maybe probably your whole life to do, right? How are you going to react? Are you going to scream and cry and get down on the ground and freaking claw at the dirt? Are you going to freaking run and grab the person nearest you and freaking hug them until they cannot breathe? Or are you just going to kind of smile and be like, huh, that's cool? If you said number 3, you would be like Eve in this character, because that's exactly what she did. She was just like, oh, I did it. This was also like her sister's work that she was able to complete, and that should have been really emotional for her, but she was just like, oh, cool, I did it. Again, that's poor direction. I'm going to ask, you know who, because she can help me out here. Alexa, who directed Tron, Ares?
From Engadget.com. Tron, Ares is directed by Joachim Running, who is something of a Disney hired gun.
Wow, even Alexa has opinions here. Is he Norwegian? Alexa, is Joachim Running Norwegian?
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Okay, I don't know, but Alexa, is the director of Tron 3 Norwegian?
Joachim Running is from Norway.
My guy. Okay, well, that explains a little bit. Maybe we need more American directors. I'm being serious here. You guys, I did not mean to go here. And Joachim, I'm sure you've done work that I respect, and you did as well as you could. You did quite well with Tron Ares. You can't really make a great movie out of a trash script, but I digress. I feel like we haven't had any good American movies in, like, a long time. From American directors. I'm being serious. That's not true. They do exist. You guys, I recently saw the movie Good Boy. Wow. Wow, I hope you go see it, because it is dope as fuck. American director. Not really a Hollywood director. That was more of an independent film, I would say. But, wow. Like, every time, like, seriously, right before I saw that movie, I was really, really seriously contemplating, and I know I fucking say this to you guys all the time, I was like, God, is cinema dead? I was like, is it because I had just seen one battle after another? I was like, fuck and shit. Is this just a dead art form? Am I just this one weird person trying to make this work, like begging for this shit to work, and it's just DOA? Like, is that what's going on here? But I saw Good Boy, and faith was restored, okay? Faith restored. The reason I bring up him being Norwegian is I just can't really say that I think that someone who is... Sorry, I have to go pick something up. One moment. I can't really say that I think a Norwegian person is necessarily capable of making a humongous fucking Disney blockbuster like this. But, again, it's not entirely his fault. Going back to the Disney Channel original movie vibes, we had a line in here, and I feel like, to be fair, I feel like most people are kind of trying to get away from this stupid shit. But like, we had a line in here, which was, they accomplished something really freaking cool. there was a huge, there's all this tension, so much tension built up to this. And this one guy did this thing they were trying to do on the computer, technologically wise. And he did it. And then they were like, oh, good job, dude, or something like that. And then the guy said, there's a reason why I have the corner office, my man. If I wanted to watch shit like that, I would turn on the actual Disney Channel and watch kids shows. But, hold on. Alexa, what is Tron Ares rated?
From MetroWeekly.com.
PG.
Tron Ares is rated PG-13 and is playing in theaters nationwide.
Okay, thank you, Alexa. I don't appreciate the corn. Honestly, I really, you know what? I do appreciate the corn, but not to this level. This corn level is like 90 to 99%. I like to see like, 30% corn, but miss me with this more than 50% corn shit. Like, please. Okay, I will ask this question fucking again. I have asked this question multiple times in other videos, and believe it or not, you guys, I actually get annoyed with myself asking the same fucking question about the same fucking subject over and over again. I do. I annoy me, but I have to ask this question because I still have it. Which is, who the fuck was the target audience for this movie? For Tron 3 Ares. Who was it? Do you know? I don't know. Listen, the first Tron movie was cool. I don't even think it was like that successful. Yes, it was very visually cool and interesting. Sure, it also came out a long fucking time ago. I think people saw that movie and they're like, oh, that was cool. Oh, that was interesting. Oh, I had never seen anything visually like that. Nice. I don't remember the Tron movie that came out 15 years ago. I'm sorry. I remember very little about it because it was incredibly not memorable to me. But then at the same time, so it came out 15 years ago. So we had one that came out in 1982. We had one that came out in like 2010. And now we have this one that's come out in 2025. I can't imagine that there were like raging fans of the 2010 version. They were like, begging for a sequel, begging for another movie. And I know for a fact that people who saw the original one in 1982 that are still with us wouldn't be like, oh yeah, I want to see another Tron movie, yes! It's rated PG-13. Reads as a G movie if you take a lot of the scenes, like, out and just separately. Reads as a fucking G movie. Reads as a fucking Disney Channel original sitcom, okay? The redeeming factor of this movie was the visuals, and it was the soundtrack. 9 Inch Nails did the soundtrack. That's real cool. It was so much fun. That really helped the movie. That really carried the movie, right? But, just because you make something visually extremely cool and have a really great soundtrack doesn't make it a good movie. Again, I wish I wasn't saying this to you. I wish I wasn't, like, offering this information, because this is actually something that I shouldn't have to fucking say, and this is something that a trillion-dollar company with supposedly the best people in the world doing the work that they do, like Disney, should have to hear. But again, here we are. Okay, so he wants the permanence code. Eve makes the permanence code successfully. And then Dillinger finds out that Eve has made the permanence code successfully. And then he tries to, like, abduct her about it. He's like, he whips up Ares and Athena, his digital into real life soldiers, and is like, you need to obtain her in the next 29 minutes. And it's like, okay, so you're now committing a crime by kidnapping an adult woman? Because you want the code that she's actually trying... And she was also trying to get it to him. Anyway, where it got weird was, and this didn't make a ton of sense at all, was Ares wanted to help Eve. Ares actually ended up being on Eve's side. And then it was him. It was borderline a little bit Pinocchio, but like we didn't even have to fucking go there because having an intelligent AI being with thoughts and motivations independent of its creator, independent of its programming is interesting enough. You don't actually need to add, I want to be a real guy into that. I want to be a real human into that. But, of course, we just had to add it. I wrote down, is this a thought-provoking movie or a chase movie? Because it was a lot of fucking goddamn chases, let me tell you. There's a lot of chasing so-and-so, chasing the other person, chasing Eve again. Like, I'm telling you guys, I'm not getting over the Disney Channel original movie vibes. Like, I am not okay with that. And I don't think anyone should be okay with that, especially Disney, especially whoever is creating the movie. You guys should not be going for that. I don't know why I need to tell you that. I really don't. So, not only did we have new characters in this one that I think were in zero way connected to the second one, it was just such a weird plot. Like I said, they reeled me in during Act 1, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then for the rest of the movie, didn't really carry through any of those things. Spoiler alert. Athena was trying to help Dillinger do what he asked, and she actually killed his mother because she was in the way or whatever. She was, deterring her. And she was like, what did she say? She said something. She said like obstacle eliminated or something. And it's like, why even do that? Why even get these people like out of the digital world into the current world, the real world that we're in? Have her kill someone, and then it's just like, oops. Again, the reaction from Julian Dillinger was a little bit off there, but not my circus, not my monkeys. There was a trailer for Avatar, the third Avatar, in this movie. And, you guys know I'm a freaking Avatard, okay? I love Avatar. It is kind of the same stuff, though. It's kind of the same general plot every time. Like, humans come in, mess things up. The Na'vi have to fight back. Second one, humans come in, mess things up. The Na'vi have to fight back. The third one is going to be the same thing. Humans come in, mess things up. Na'vi fight back. However, even though that's true, there are some really interesting concepts put forth with those movies. Okay? And the thing about James Cameron is he knows that you actually have to follow through with the things you put in the beginning. Oh my god, amazing. Okay. So I see why people get on his case for the things being so similar, but like really there's a plot set up, there's action behind it, and there's a conclusion. Okay? This movie was like, there was a plot set up, there was some unrelated action, superfluous action somewhat connected to it. And then there was, like, very little resolution. Like, what I thought was interesting, there was one scene, okay, count it, one, where Ares was talking to Eve, and he was asking her about her emotions, because, and how she was sad about her sister passing away. Interesting. You know, obviously Ares was really wanting to, you know, be able to learn more about human beings. He was so fascinated by the concept of grief. Super interesting, right? But, like, the best we got out of that was, like, that scene, and then at the end, wouldn't you know it, Eve got away from Dillinger and was successful and made it, woohoo. Which, like, isn't really much to write home about. I told you guys I like Evan Peters. He's great. He's beautiful. He's a good actor. Did we see a lot of him being beautiful and a good actor? Sort of. Can't say the same about Jared Leto. He's not marketable. He does not have raging fans outside of his fucking weird ass cult. And again, like I said, like, who the fuck is the target audience for this movie? Listen, if we had a completely different person play the role of Ares, who at least looked the part of, like, a soldier, would have been a different movie. It would have, but the thing is, even though it would have been a different movie and it would have been better, it still would have been pretty lackluster, right? Okay, it's time to end this video. Let me see if there's anything else I really wanted to say. Okay. I will say this. Obviously, at the end of the movie, whoop-de-doo, they found the permanence code and were able to apply it to Jared Leto's character, Ares. That's great. Shocker. Who's surprised? Not me. Again, kind of giving Pinocchio. But, like, sorry, I think that's kind of stupid, because how the fuck are you gonna get anywhere? So at the end of the movie, it showed him, like, in Thailand or some shit, and he had written a postcard to Eve and was like, I'm learning how to be human and it's fun. How the fuck are you gonna get anywhere without a passport? Without official identification? How the shit did you get anywhere? Like, have fun being homeless, bro. Like, without identification. Maybe because he's a computer. Maybe because he has a computer brain, he was able to forge, convincing documentation of his own existence. That shit bothers me. I don't care what anyone says. That shit just really bothers me. It really does. Like, obviously it's fake. Obviously it's a movie. Obviously it's not something that's going to really happen. But, like, this whole, like, magical plot devices, like, magical, well, he made it work. Like, well, we made a digital being into an actual being, into an actual physical being. And he just, like, went to travel, like, I don't, okay, I'm ending this movie. I'm serious this time. I just want to know what the point of this movie was. I mean, to be fair, we did get a really outstanding, interesting, awesome 9 Inch Nails album out of it, which is a lot more than I can say of most shitty movies that come out now. But, like, I still am asking the question, like, what really was the point of this movie? And I also want to know, like, why they they set up so many interesting concepts with zero follow through. Because, like, these are questions we should be asking. We should be asking, is it good to go this far with technology? Technology should be learning from human beings. It is fascinating that a programmed AI person, right, character, is able to break free of his programming and become autonomous and have motivations of his own. Super interesting. Are we going to follow through with any of those concepts? No. No. So therefore, what's the point? What is the point, Disney? Okay? I want to know. For that matter, I know I've talked about this before, but, like, I know for a fact, and anyone who reads a freaking book at all, who reads a freaking book or reads a freaking interview with Walt Disney would know that this is not where he wanted his company to go, and this is not currently where he would want his company to have gone, to be. Okay? I'm sick of people fucking up to this degree. And in an art form that is supposed to be so reliable, that is supposed to be so American, quite frankly. Come at me. Not that other people can't enjoy it and do it. Obviously they can. But, like, I'm kind of at a loss here. Why are we continuing to fuck up so much when it comes to film? I want to know.